I have been wanting to do a Kratos related video for a bit involving Saint Seiya and wanted to wait till the game was out just in case some fears would arise. Now let's say Kratos was teleported to the Saint Seiya universe and for some reason Kratos needed to invade the sanctuary. Now this is a composite Kratos in that he has all of the weapons from the games versus classic God Saints in their respective temples. They aren't composite, so no upgrades, godcloth, nor transcendent states. Just scales as we see them throughout the mangas. First, Kratos would have to find the sanctuary, which is hidden and even satellites seems to think it doesn't exist. But Kratos is a resourceful guy, so eventually I'm sure he would find it. Kratos should have no problem getting through the temple guards, who were saints in training, and bronze saints, who scaled to around continent level via the Phoenix Cloth destroying the continent of Mu. Nor should he have trouble with the Silver Saints, who, with high-end interpretations, are 100 times more powerful and able to destroy planets and stars. The only threat would be if one gets lucky and has a hex ability, but nothing I know of they have that Kratos could not at least resist. Now onward to the Sanctuary. Against the God Saints themselves, the first God Saint he would encounter would be a dangerous one, and that's Ares Mu, whose technique, Starlight Extinction, sends out millions of rays of light, overlapping anything it comes in contact with, sending it to the underworld or erasing it from existence altogether. While being sent to the afterlife would not be a huge issue for Kratos normally, him being sent to the underworld of Saint Seiya would be a problem. He would have to deal with another whole faction of powerful characters and even deities, so I will consider this a loss. Mu should also be able to contend with Kratos as he took blows from the 100-hander and fought a titan who was a universal threat. Still, I think while Mu could contend with Kratos, he has still fought stronger entities like Zeus, who was stronger than the primordial deities of that universe that created the God of War universe and its realms. So I think more often than not, Kratos would eventually overwhelm Mu, though he would have a chance with his technique. Next is Turris Aldebaran, who is more than comparable to Kratos in strength, due to him holding up the sins of humanity with one hand, which was heavier than the universe which contains countless stars and infinite timelines. But honestly, strength is all he has aside from atomic destruction, that all saints have. I see this as an easy win for Kratos. Next would be the Gemini Temple, where he would face one of the strongest God Saints, Gemini Saga. While Saga boasts power to casually destroy a galaxy or galaxies, that won't be enough against someone like Kratos, who can withstand blows against someone like Thor, who with one hit the world serpent so hard he split the world tree that is infinite beyond space-time realms of Asgard and sent the serpent back in time. Like a space warping and mind attack, I don't see doing much more than slowing down Kratos. His 5 sense removal would have a major impact as it would potentially leave Kratos immobile while Saga races Cosmos or creates a miracle to unleash an attack that could really hurt Kratos or just leave him immobile. However, that would require some real close hand-to-hand combat, and I think Kratos would come out the winner in that exchange more often than not. Should probably explain miracles. Miracles are basically a power that all saints can potentially possess. It's basically like a plot-related power boost that makes saints increase any attribute to an extreme degree. Some say can even challenge the gods, but more often than not it is simply a massive power boost. Next, the Cancer Temple. Aside from the risk of being teleported close to the underworld or another dimension, this is a no difficulty win for Kratos. After that, Leo Goat Saint Iolia. He's just too basic for the most part. Besides, his strongest technique, Photon Burst, where he generates cosmos around his opponent, shoots the cosmos through the body of his enemy, bypassing armor and defense, and explodes with the power of the Big Bang, which created the universe, or microcosm. It's a long move that leaves you vulnerable, but would definitely leave Kratos in a pretty rough state. But again, more often than not, I would go with Kratos here due to his casual strength and versatility. But if he managed to pull that technique off, it would be, I say, a high difficulty win for Kratos still. Virgo Shaka. Does being the man closest to God matter to a literal god and god killer? Well, Shaka has both offense and defense and hacks to keep up with Kratos. He has fought gods in the way of the Titan Iapetus, who created an infinite universe and withstood multiple attacks from him, with and without his barrier. Even after the Titan was amped, his 10-1 technique that paralyzes and removes the six senses has also shown to be able to affect gods, so he wouldn't need to kill Kratos to defeat him. Shaka also has a number of stat buffs to make his attacks even stronger. Kratos, on a higher end, would still have an advantage, but I think Shaka is versatile enough to get the win. This is the first fight I see going slightly more toward the Goat Saint. Let's assume Kratos gets by Shaka so we can ponder the rest. Next is Grandmaster Liberdoko. He is comparable to Shion, whose power is compared to the Big Bang and can destroy a universe. He has the golden weapons that in the hands of a saint makes you stronger than multiple saints combined. A shield that once withstood the blows of a primordial god and held back the power of Ares Saga. Sadly, not very hacked. While the Cosmo can resist things like petrification and is capable of destroying anything, Kratos has a lot of versatile weapons that could slow him down. Even though Saints can, of course, survive attacks from mind, body, and soul, I still think Kratos is just too versatile of a fighter, so he wins here with high difficulty. Scorpio Milo. Not a very strong saint. Hacks is based around extreme pain. Kratos, though, I'm sure is man enough to handle such thing. He can also seal your nervous system and has an attack that acts as basically a insta-kill move. So while not being strong, he is a type of threat. Still, I see Kratos winning and moving on. Capricorn Shooter. Again, purely physical character that attacks up close with sword slashes. I see Kratos eventually getting the upper hand here. With low difficulty though, he would suffer permanent damage as shooting sword slashes if he once cannot be healed, not even from a god. Aiolos, I kinda wish I made the gold's composite here because Anti-Pope versus Kratos is an awesome match. Still, Aiolos is a threat. His random Shikamaru Paralyze move will likely not help much in battle. However, his technique, Infinity Break, an attack that generates over 1,000,000 degrees heated cosmos arrows to Kratos that is said to be able to hinder even the gods, is a move that is definitely a threat to Kratos. And honestly, I'm not sure if he could take it. So I'll call this one a 50-50. but tell me what you think in the comments. Aquarius Camus. His attacks are ice-based and can freeze near and at absolute zero. His strongest attack is Ice Coffin, which cannot be broken by the combined might of multiple God Saints, so he has the potential to defeat Kratos, who has ice resistance via taking the attacks of his own Leviathan axe, but not near absolute zero, at least not in the way that makes sense to me. So yeah, can go either way. Let's move on. Pisces Aphrodite. Another weaker character, but has hacks. To climb this temple, you must walk through a poison field that removes the senses, but Kratos does have resistance to poison, so he makes it to Aphrodite. Aphrodite has the ability to attack the heart directly and drain the blood, but it's a slow attack, so Kratos honestly wins here, no difficulty. And the final battle against the Pope. Now, funny enough, the Pope has an ability to trigger something called Infinite Labyrinth that traps you in an infinite dimensional maze that not even gods can escape. Given that a character like Virgo Asmita, a hacks and knowledgeable mystic character, could not escape from it, I can believe it's as inescapable as it says. This trap can be triggered whenever the Pope wants, seemingly, so honestly, Kratos I think could be stopped without even a fight. Still, how would the fight go against the Pope? Well, the fight would go very similarly to with the fight against Liberdoko, but without the weapons. But with a little bit more hacks. Still, I say Kratos wins high difficulty. And that's how I see it basically. If Kratos attacked the Sanctuary, he could potentially defeat everyone, but I think it's unlikely he could get past so much hacks without dying once or being nullified in some way. Well, there are my thoughts. If you want to know what I think, if they had GodCloth, I think almost all of them would defeat Kratos. Also, if you want to know how I think Kratos would do against the army of Hades, I can make that video as well. And tell me, and remember to like, sub, and hit the bell. Later.